General Hospital spoilers. Willow's last message to Sasha stuns everyone. 5 words that change everything. The sun filtered weakly through the dusty courthouse windows, casting pale rays across the somber faces filling the gallery. Every seat was taken. Port Charles had turned out in full for the trial of Willow Tate Corinthos, beloved former nurse, teacher, and cancer survivor. Her charge? Aiding and abetting a cover-up involving falsified hospital records that had led to a tragic death months earlier. A single mistake, trusting the wrong person, had spiraled into a scandal so big even Sunny Corinthos couldn't shield her from the consequences. Sasha Gilmore sat stiffly in the third row. Her hands trembled in her lap as her eyes locked onto Willow, who sat at the defense table, composed but pale. Michael Corinthos sat a few seats behind Sasha, lips tight, jaw clenched, still in disbelief that the woman he loved, the mother of his children, could be facing 5 years in Pentonville. But it wasn't Willow's fate that had Sasha on edge. It was what she knew. And what Willow might say. 2 months ago, Willow sat on the edge of a hospital bed late one night, a file in her hands. She wasn't supposed to be in this wing. She wasn't even technically back at work yet. But she had promised to help Sasha find answers about the suspicious overdose that had nearly killed a young nurse, a girl Sasha had mentored. The file was incomplete. Vital charts missing. Timestamps altered. And the person listed as handling the medication logs? Dr. Ramara Castell, recently hired, but already being courted for administrative promotion by GH's new board chair. Sasha had burst into the room then, breathless. "I think Ramara's involved," she whispered. "And she's being protected." Willow had nodded slowly. "And made the mistake of logging in under her administrator credentials. She deleted one line. Just one. And now, the prosecution called it evidence tampering." Judge Pierce's voice rang coldly through the courtroom. "We, the jury, find the defendant, Willow Tate Corinthos, guilty." A gasp rippled through the gallery. Sasha's hand flew to her mouth. Michael stood abruptly. Willow didn't flinch. She merely turned and looked over her shoulder, not at Michael, but at Sasha. Her gaze was soft, forgiving. The judge continued. Sentencing would be immediate due to Willow's cooperation and prior good standing. The minimum, 9 months. The maximum, 5 years. 2 years, the judge declared. Gasps again. Sasha was frozen in place. Willow's eyes never left her. And as the bailiff approached, Willow was granted a moment, a final one, with her friends and family. In the hallway behind the courtroom, Sasha approached Willow slowly. Her eyes welled with guilt and gratitude. "This wasn't your fight," Sasha said hoarsely. "You were just trying to help me." Willow reached out and clasped Sasha's trembling hands. "I need you to be strong now," Willow said quietly. "For Wiley. For Amelia. For Michael." Sasha shook her head, heartbroken. "I should be the one in there." "You shouldn't." But Willow leaned in. Her mouth barely moved. She whispered 5 words that turned Sasha's blood cold. Harmony lied. "Nina is innocent." Sasha's breath caught in her throat. What did you say?" Willow pulled back and smiled sadly as the guards began to escort her away. "Find the file," she said. "You'll understand everything." And with that, she was gone. Sasha staggered backward, clutching the courtroom wall. Harmony lied. Nina is innocent. It couldn't be. Willow had always believed that Nina, her biological mother, had known the truth about her birth and had abandoned her. It was part of what kept them estranged, even after Nina had tried desperately to bridge the gap. But Harmony, the woman who raised Willow, who died protecting her, had clearly left behind something. A lie. And if it was true, then everything Willow had built her life on was wrong. Michael was beside Sasha in a second. "What did she say?" he demanded. Sasha hesitated. "Nothing. Just told me to take care of Wiley." She couldn't tell Michael. Not yet. Not until she knew more. That night, Nina Reeves stood alone in her office at Crimson, sipping red wine and gazing out the window. Her relationship with Willow was still strained, distant, polite at best. She blamed herself, always had. She didn't notice Sasha until the door opened. "What are you doing here?" Nina asked, surprised. Sasha's expression was unreadable. "I need to ask you something," she said softly. "Did you ever know Willow was your daughter before Harmony died?" Nina blinked. "No. God, no. I found out with everyone else." "Why would you ask that?" Sasha stepped forward and handed her an old flash drive. "This was in Harmony's storage unit," she said. "Willow told me, right before she was taken away. Told me to find the file." Nina's fingers shook as she accepted it. Together, they opened the laptop. Together, they read the document stored within, a confessional voice memo dated months before Harmony's death. Her voice crackled through the speakers. "I did something unforgivable. I told Willow that Nina knew she was her mother and left her anyway. But that's not true. Nina never knew. I couldn't let Willow hate me. So I lied. And now, I don't know how to make it right." Nina gasped. Sasha stared, hollow. The following week became a whirlwind. Sasha, filled with resolve, met with Diane Miller and Michael. She played the recording. She showed the file. Michael sat in stunned silence, realizing everything he'd held against Nina, every restriction he'd placed between her and Willow, had been based on a falsehood. The guilt crushed him. Diane, ever the sharp legal mind, immediately began drafting a case for a retrial. "If we can prove Willow's judgment was clouded by false information and that her cooperation was under duress, we may be able to appeal," she explained. But Sasha wasn't done. She went to Pentonville. Willow sat across from Sasha in a pale green prison uniform. Her eyes were tired, but warm. Sasha placed her hand on the glass. "You were right," she said, tearfully. "I found the file. I heard Harmony's voice." Willow nodded slowly. "It doesn't change everything, but it changes enough." "I'm so sorry," Sasha whispered. "You were trying to do good. And I let you take the fall." Willow gave a small, knowing smile. "You'll make it right. You always do." Later that night, Michael Corinthos knocked on Nina Reeves's penthouse door. She answered, wary. "Michael." He didn't hesitate. "I came to apologize." Her breath caught. "For everything," he continued. "I believed Harmony's lies. I treated you like a threat. I kept you from your granddaughter." Nina's eyes filled with tears. "I don't know if you'll ever forgive me," Michael said. "But I'm going to do everything I can to fix this. Starting with getting Willow out of jail." The next day, Diane filed the motion to reopen Willow's case with new exculpatory evidence. The DA's office, already embarrassed by the public backlash, agreed to a reduced charge and parole hearing. Port Charles exploded with whispers. Nina and Willow's story graced the front page of The Invader. Harmony's deception shattered public trust in past GH administrators. And Sasha? She stood beside Nina during her press conference. She didn't just lie to Willow, Sasha told the crowd. She lied to everyone who loved her. But now, the truth is out. And it's time for healing. Weeks later, Willow emerged from Pentonville, her head held high. Michael and Wiley rushed into her arms. Amelia babbled in her stroller. And Nina stood quietly, waiting at a distance. Willow walked to her. "I listened to the whole recording," she said gently. "I believe you. I believe you never knew." Nina's lips trembled. "I never stopped hoping," she whispered. "Even when you hated me." Willow nodded slowly. "Maybe it's time to try again." They embraced. Across the courtyard, Sasha wiped a tear from her cheek. With Willow free, the Corinthos family slowly began to mend. Michael invited Nina to Wiley's next school performance. Willow returned to GH on limited duty, working with trauma survivors. Sasha took over a wellness center in town, dedicated to helping young women rebuild after addiction, grief, or betrayal. The town buzzed, but for once, it wasn't with scandal. It was with hope. On the anniversary of her release, Willow stood with Sasha near the GH Memorial Garden. A plaque had just been placed honoring young nurse Lila Mason, the overdose victim whose tragic death had sparked it all. Willow looked at Sasha. "You know," she said softly, "I thought my life was ending." Sasha smiled. "But it was just beginning again." Willow nodded. "I've never forgotten those 5 words I told you," she whispered. "They saved us both." Sasha gripped her hand tightly. Yeah, she replied, and they gave us back the truth.